officially and forever retire the number 9 football jersey and to play Saturday, October 26, 2019 as CR2 McNair Day.
Show here on this Monday night. Glad you can join us 3 minutes after the hour. Here on this Monday night, we got some rain and some cold weather coming in. Bundle up, highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s. By this time Thursday, it'll warm up a little bit, but fall is here. Don't forget fall back, set your clocks back coming up here in the next few days. It's going to get chilly around here, so pay attention to the weather. We had a lot of rain, 2 to 3 inches around here, and that was huge, and the field held up great as the Braves were great in winning 27-13 over Southern University. The Braves, with a big win, 4-0 in the division, have a stranglehold on the Eastern Division. Jaguars still in good shape, but they can't afford another slip-up with Alabama A&M coming to town on their homecoming this Saturday, and A&M with a double overtime thriller as they beat Bama State. So a lot to talk about there with the standings, but let's get right into it as the Braves, a big win, 27-13 over Southern University. Glad you can join us here on the Braves Sports Network. Our producer, Jamario Brooks. I'm Charles Edmond. Braves head football coach Fred McNair at the other microphone. Good evening, Coach, and congratulations.
Good evening, Charles. Congratulations, most accepted, Charles. Great win for this program. Great showing. I thought that we came out and played a fairly good ball game, Charles, against a good Southern football team, and what Dawson Odom is doing down there at Southern. So we came out down at half by 3, so just had to go in and revamp and make some adjustments and come back in the second half and play a better second half we did the first half. So I'm proud of the young men and this coaching staff that we have on board here, man. They do a phenomenal job of fighting through adversity and overcoming being down at half. So they came back and fought.
You know, you were proud of your team. Me, personally, I was proud of the crowd because with the weather, but it turned out to be a couple of days of rain. High school games moved back. It was raining up until about 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Almost 16,000 came out. And there's no doubt that if the weather were a lot better, that place would have been packed wall to wall. So I was proud of the turnout that we had despite the weather for the back end of the week.
You can never say enough about the support that we have, Charles, in this football program every Saturday. You know, the fans come out and they show up, and they show out, Charles. You know, they put on a good show, loud, screaming, rooting on, man, or whatever it is. I mean, they done a phenomenal job at the alumni base and the fans here at Oco and the fan base. You can't say enough about how these fans come out and support these Braves football.
All right, we're going to get into it here, of course. 601-877-65. All right, JJ hemmed me up, as they say.
Good question for you, Charles.
It is. I mean, you know, even if you go back to 91 through 94, I mean, with Steve and, you know, beating Samford, the largest crowd we have. I mean, you can go on and on with some great teams. In the 28 years I've been doing this,
there's a lot of great football been played at Alcorn, Charles.
Yeah.
A lot of great football.
I mean,
I tell you, a lot of great teams that come through it, Charles.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a fair question, but we appreciate it. All right, let's look at this game, Coach. Turnovers in a game like this, you know, your margin of error is small. And the Jaguars, I tell you what, they got the football and marched right down the field. And a little trickeration is Devon Ben on the halfback pass intercepted by Cole. Now, Dawson Odom said they practiced that play all week. It just wasn't executed. They felt like they saw something there. Was that a play that you were expecting?
Well, I told the team, during pregame meal, they always come with some trickeration, Charles. And whether it's the first play of the game, they always do something tricky. So our guys was aware that at any time it could be some kind of trickery play. So good knowledge by Cole, being back and staying at home and being able to pick that ball off. So it was a great job by him, man. And I think those guys was alert and then made the play on it.
So the Braves got the football at their 8-yard line, had a 3rd and 12 from the 1, and Chris Blair, a 69-yard reception to get us out of the hole. Now, let's talk about Chris Blair and targeting him and some of the holds and the grabs and the pass interference penalties, as they just could not cover Chris Blair on Saturday.
It was tough. It was tough on the DBs charge Saturday. I think Chris Blair just wanted to play football. He was having fun. And that's the thing that we always try to tell all the guys: when you're having fun, you're winning. When you're winning, you're having fun. So those guys make the best of it. And I think he came out with the hot hands of catching the ball and doing what it takes to get open. So Felix just find him and give him a good ball to catch.
Yeah, he was targeted quite a bit on this first drive, and we had a 3rd and goal from the 1. And Harper, no gain. Apparently there was a fumble, and it was recovered by Carter for the Jaguars. The question, Coach McNair, was that a fumble? Was it a touchdown first and then a fumble? I mean, what did you see down there?
Well, I couldn't quite see it from the angle I was at, Charles, and I have to just trust the referee judgment on that call. They say he didn't get in, and when he reached the ball out, they knocked it out of his hand. So they said it was a fumble. They reviewed it and definitely said he didn't get in. So it was a fumble, and they recovered it in the end zone. So, one of those calls that you wish that you could have back, but we got to do a better job at our offensive line of getting pushed on the 1-yard line. There shouldn't be no hesitation at all that we keep that ball in. So we just got to go revisit that, and we got to get better at that. We got to score from the 1-yard line.
Yep, and that was tough. I mean, a lot of folks said it was a touchdown before the turnover, and obviously the officials made the call the way it was, and Southern got the football at the 20-yard line. But the important thing, we got off the field 3 and out. Our defense stepped up there.
The biggest thing is, we talk about it all the time, 3rd down conversion, getting off the field on 3rd down. I thought that was a big time step up there to get off the field in.
All right, so the Braves' next drive got it at their 36-yard line with 3:50 left in the first quarter, and they had a 1st and 10 from the Jaguars 13. There was a pass interference call again, but you had some penalties, Coach, a holding penalty and a false start. Coming into the game, Coach, and we get the penalties out of the way. We're averaging 9 penalties a game going into this game on Saturday, and that's probably where we're going to be on an average. You get asked a question about penalties all the time. What are some of the things that you saw or didn't see in terms of what we need to do to clean up penalties?
Well, they're just mental charge, just mental mistakes, and not listen to what you normally hear during the course of practice. It's the quarterback voice, and we just gotta hone in on and focus in on what we got to do to get the snap count. One penalty, we had left guard, a freshman, his first start, and big game for him. So he false started twice, and one time the whole line false started, but the center, he didn't snap the ball. So those kind of things that always kind of bothers you as a head coach and a position coach as well, because he's teaching over position, and that's not normal to do that. So just got to get that corrected and get better at it, so we won't have that problem anymore.
It was a scoreless game, Coach, through the end of the first quarter. You talked about penalties. There were 11 total penalties in the first quarter. Southern had 6, we had 5, but we were able to, spray the football around. 104 yards passing. The running game, if you look at it overall, Coach, running the football was kind of a slog. We won the football game, had 100 yards rushing right on the nose, 35 carries.
Yeah, and that's that we take pride in trying to run the football charge. We kind of keep it much balanced in the passing and the run. So We got creases, Charles. We just hesitate about hitting them, and we got to sustain blocks a little bit longer. We see the potential when we watch film of very explosive plays. We showed them this morning where they had 3 explosive runs, with 5 explosive passes, plays, and those things of that nature. But that need to be increased because there's potential there in the film we watch of those big plays. So we just got to continue to grind on that and sustain the blocks. And sometimes we're not blocking the right guy, and that's just unacceptable as coaches for the players to do that. And especially when you point at them and that's your guy, you got to go block him. So we just got to clean up that kind of stuff, man, and we'll be okay. Got to get ready for a real good Grambling team coming up in 2 weeks.
So from the running perspective, 100 yards rushing on 35 carries. So was it more of Southern scheming the run, or just like, as you said, just not polishing it up a little bit and trying to get more from the running game?
A lot of time we tell the kids it's not what they do to us, it's what we do. It's all about us, and we just got to get better at the things that we do. True enough, Southern was kind of stingy on the defense, so they did a great job of slowing us down in the run. But in some cases we had explosive run, we just didn't figure it out, So we just got to get better at what we do. It's not all about the opposition that we're playing, It's just about things that we can control is the biggest thing, and I think that we can control the things that we do on that side of the ball as far as rushing.
Give us a call, 601-877-6595. We appreciate JJ calling in. JJ hadn't called in like 2 years, I think. Is glad to hear from him here on this Monday night, and look forward to hearing from you. 601-877-6595. Tall Man Radio on Twitter. You can text a question, 601-348-7254. We'll look at the second quarter coming up. We'll recap the Steve Air to McNair weekend, beginning with the gala. Coach McNair will talk about that, and just some of his thoughts over that 48-hour period from Thursday until Saturday. And Coach sounded a little choked up a little bit on the post-game, after all the events and the big win, the emotional win over a very good Southern team who we might be seeing again. But I know people were looking at the standings. The Jaguars still control things in the West, but they can't afford another slip. And for us, we've come a long way, but still some work to do with a hot Grambling team coming up and an A&M team that's still in the Eastern Division race. Jackson State kind of saved their season with a double overtime win at Prairie View on Thursday night. So a lot to unpack there. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back after this 1-minute timeout here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. Joining us from Dallas, you can chime in at 601-877-6595. All right, Coach, let's look at the second quarter. Actually, this drive started with 3:50 left in the first quarter at our own 36-yard line. We're behind the chains, Coach. Again, when we say behind the chains, and you hear that terminology all over the place, whether it's college or NFL, for those who might not know what that means, you're second and long, third and long, and we actually had a third down and 17, and it was because of a sack. We had a 2nd and 3 from the Jaguars 6 early in the second quarter, and then a sack by Champion made it third down and 17. Talk about that little tricky sequence.
Yeah, it was kind of tough, and we talked about it. The quarterback, no, we can't take that sack, Charles. We always emphasize that every day in practice when we do our 2-minute drill. We can't take sacks and stuff like that, and he just made a mistake and just held the ball and got that sack. But we always talk about third and long, and it's something we practice every day. Third down situations and third and short, third and long, third and medium. We practice that just to get out of those situations. Not that we anticipate being in them a whole lot, but we always go through the course of practice during those sequences of what we're doing in the course of the week. So, we practice it, and we have to just make sure that we can be able to convert on third down, which we didn't do a whole lot of conversion. We don't probably 45% on third down conversion. With 5 of 11 on third down conversion, that number has got to go up, and a lot of times it's on third and long when you don't convert it. So as long as we keep it third and medium and third and short, I think our chances are a whole lot better in converting on third down. So we just got to continue to work on that, and as I always talk about, getting off the field on third down.
Yeah, just talk about how Felix Harper's handled those situations where he's got to get rid of the football and not take a sack. Is that just a continued learning curve for him, knowing that he's got to get rid of it somehow, some way?
Yeah, I know one sack he took. He said he was still in the pocket, but you sometimes have to put that on the officials too. Let them make the decision whether he was in the pocket or not, and let them throw the flag. You just get rid of the ball and not take a sack. We talked about that on one sack that he took. We was down in there, and he took a big loss and wasn't able to convert on that one. So, he's handling it pretty well. He's calm under pressure, and doing all the right things he needs to do in situations. And I think that what Coach White is doing is really teaching him, along the way, those things that we can't do. Take sacks in the course of a football game. If it's just delivered from the offensive line bust standpoint, we understand that, but you still can't take sacks when you're holding the ball too long.
Well, he did take a sack there, a 14-yard loss, so it's 3rd and 17. Incomplete pass to Rodarius Anderson. And McCullough, 37-yard field goal, specialist of the week in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, a couple of field goals. So we're able to get 3 out of that, and we led 3-0 in the second quarter with 14:07 left. Jaguars get the ball at their own 16 with 14:02 left. And McDaniel, we talked about, whether it's Skelton or McDaniel, he came into the ball game and he marched the team right down the field. And on a 2nd and goal from the 2, McDaniel, 2-yard sneak up the middle, and the Jaguars, Coach McNair went right down the field and led 6-3. PAT no good.
Yeah, they had a long drive there, Charles. You're talking about 20-play drive, and it was a long, methodical drive. So it kind of got to us a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. But we just got to make sure on 3rd down. Like I said, we got to get off the field on 3rd down. I think that was like 8 for 13 on 3rd down conversion. So that number has got to be a little bit lower than that. Hopefully, you see 0 for 13 is what you want. So they didn't convert no 3rd down. So big stuff, and we just got to improve on that and get off the field.
I know they tried to target Hunter Register the entire game. He's a University of Minnesota transfer. You just look at him from the press box. That's a big target, and you get it to him, he's going to get those yak yards, those run after the catch yards. They were targeting him quite a bit. Talk about how we handled him.
Well, he was a big target. You have to just be able to slow them kind of people down. When they're that size. He was about a 6'5" receiver, that can catch the ball well, and like I said, from Michigan State, and a big target. Just get the ball to him, and I think that what we did a great job at him, and hold him to 8 catches, 70 yards. We can cut that down a little bit, but just the schematic of it and what they was trying to do when they target a big guy like that, that's what you're gonna get. A lot of targeting, and some of them get caught.
You don't see a 20-play drive.
That was a long drive, Charles. that was an extended drive. You're talking about almost a 10-minute play drive, Charles, and they methodically drove the ball down. Like I said, biggest part, we have to make sure we get off the field on 3rd down.
And you took a timeout there with 6:28 left. It was 3rd and 10 from our 24. You took a timeout right there just to kind of see what was going on that 3rd and 10.
Yeah, just kind of scrambling around a little bit on defense, and we wasn't in place where we need to be. We had to take a timeout there.
So it was 6-3, and that was our score at the half. Coach, a low-scoring slugfest, kind of a quick first half. Both teams trying to run the football, and Kermit talked about the adjustments. What was your feeling heading into the locker room? 6-3 ball game, kind of back and forth, turnover, both teams opportunities. What was your thoughts after the first 30 minutes?
Just to make sure we go in and settle those guys down and to where they can just play football. That was the main thing. It wasn't no big speech. Just settle down and let's execute the way we should. And I told them, the biggest drive is the drive we're gonna get after halftime. We get that drive, we go down and score, we're in good shape. So, the next drive it always is a big drive. So we got the ball and we took it down and scored. So that was big for us right there, Charlie.
6-3 at halftime. We'll look at the 3rd quarter in which the Braves cracked it open. We'll get to that. We'll get to your calls, texts, and tweets coming up. We'll talk about the Steve Ayer to McNair weekend, and we'll look ahead to the bye week. Almost halfway through the Fred McNair radio show on this Monday night. Glad you can join us here on 91.7 WPRL, the flagship station of the Braves Sports Network, and WPRL.org, WMIS, WTYJ, 1240 AM, 97.7 FM, and Fayette Natchez. They've been doing it for over 100 years, broadcasting in the Southwest Mississippi area in the Open Mic Broadcast Network, obnradio.com. and Prairie View, Texas. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the third quarter info. We'll have plenty of text and tweets, a lot to talk about as we come back after this 1 minute timeout. The third quarter was 6-3, and then in the blink of an eye it was 10-6. Big play. And this was a game, not many big plays to be made, but we did make them. Darius Anderson, a 52-yard completion on a 2nd and 9 from our 26 as we got it at the 25, and that set up the Braves for a touchdown. Southern, a sportsmanlike conduct. That was an 11-yard penalty, and we were able to finish that drive as Felix Harper, a 1-yard touchdown, capped off that drive, and we led 10-6.
Like I said, Charles, coming at the halftime, you want to get the ball and go down and score. What was surprising to me that they elected to receive the ball in the first half. So that was big for us. We know we get the ball back coming out of the second half, and hopefully you have a possession right before halftime to put one in. But coming back at the halftime, you want to be able to take that drive and make a statement on that drive. And I think that we put together a good drive there with a big play to Darius Anderson, and Felix capped it off with a 1-yard run. So that was a statement drive for us coming up at halftime and put that game 10-6.
It's good to see him kind of get back into it. We've talked about him throughout the course of the season. Of course, for many who might not remember, he went down in the Celebration Bowl, and that kind of set him back. So he's still trying to get back there, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and it's still work in progress, but he's fighting through it. That's the thing about him. He's tough, and he's physical, so he's fighting through it a lot. But, Ray come to work every day and ready to work. So that's one thing that Coach Phillips really like about him. Just coming and being prepared to work, kind of settle him down a little bit and make sure he's doing the things the right way.
All right, so the Braves led 10-6. Jaguars get the ball in the next drive at the 25-yard line, and 5 plays later, McDaniel in the pocket, pass deflected, intercepted by Webb, who had 3 sacks in the game. So talk a little bit about that play. I mean, you have 2 different quarterbacks. Skelton, who can beat you with his legs, obviously, and we saw that. But then McDaniel's more the pocket passer. You give him time, he can step up and make some things happen. But the pocket collapsed there around him.
Yeah, I think Creel did a great job of getting his hands up and getting the hand on the ball and deflecting where Webb could pick it off. And that was a good turnover for us, So we just need one of those, and I think the defense was able to give us one. So give us a chance on offense again to go down and score another touchdown.
And we got the ball at Southern's 43-yard line with 10:09 left. Nigel Wood with a 6-yard reception. Tim McNair Jr., 14-yard reception. And then we finished the drive on a 3rd down and goal from the Jaguars 4. Waller with the touchdown. Underneath the coverage, Coach, it was kind of pitch and catch right there, an easy touchdown.
Yeah, it was. Design play. That's just the thing that the concept and the routes, and I think the coach did a great job of getting that feel of that one and giving one opportunity to catch the ball, which he had really great hands, almost like a receiver. So good out of the backfield with his hand.
All right, so that made the score 17-6. Now getting a little bit of separation as we look at the fourth quarter. We added a field goal, and you've been talking about McCullough and the job that he's done. Specialist of the week again this week, a couple of field goals. The wind was kind of tricky, swirling around a little bit, and McCullough drained a 31-yarder to put us up 20-6 in the fourth quarter.
That was big time for Corey. We knew the wind was kind of doing everything with that ball, and we wasn't quite sure how close we had to get in there. I know one series we went for it on 4th down because we were backed up too far, and I thought we was in that between the mark. So we'd go for that on 4th down, and we get it. And so that was a big thing for us, and I think Corey did a good job of we always talk about operations, snap, hold, kick, so it was good. So good to see Corey. Corey been doing a great job for us. It's all about ball placement for him, and we talk about it constantly, putting the ball in the right spot where it needs to be on kickoff and in punt situations. So give us a chance to go down and cover. And I think he did an excellent job on the kickoff as well. Our guys being able to get down there, and we had a breakdown in one of the kickoffs where the guy ran for about 45 yards. So that was the only twitch that we allowed on the kickoff that we had, in which he made the tackle. So that was awesome.
Did I see that we've had Pringle as a holder? Did I see Greg Blue as a holder?
Greg Blue is a holder now.
Wow. So talk about that dynamic. You got one kicker holding for another.
You kind of design by design, Charles. You look at it, and those guys be together every day. in practice for 2.5 hours. So, you got those guys working together, and then, constantly snapping and holding for each other. And that's big time, Charles, when you have that. The same way by design in the NFL with a punter hold for the kicker. The same situation. So it's been good for us, and Greg been doing a great job getting the ball down, especially in the climate we was in this past weekend. Charles, when it wet and damp, and the ball is kind of slick, so we did a great job putting it down and getting a good kick from it.
It was 20-6 in the next Braves drive at 10:15 mark of the fourth quarter. You started at the Jaguars 40, and you got to Southern's 19. Coach, you had a decision to make. 4th and 2 from Southern's 19-yard line. You went for it, but just talk about what's going through your mind there.
Well, the biggest thing is you look at the flag and the way it was blowing, Charles, and I thought about just letting him kick that one at that time, but I just watching the wind, and I just looked down, and I said, well, let's go for it. Just give me a good play, coach, and let's run it. And so a great call by Coach Ratton, and just having the trust in it to get the first down. That happens to do with a lot of times, Charles, when you have offensive line, you want to build confidence in them as well, to where they can go for it on fourth down. Just give them more confidence to they'll be able to do it. I said, I feel better if y'all can get that third and short and not go for it on fourth down. So they did a great job of reacting and getting that fourth down.
Yep, and that kept the drive moving at the Jaguars' 12-yard line. And on 2nd and 9, Harper to Pringle. I didn't call Pringle's name that much, Coach, but we did there, an 11-yard touchdown to pretty much put it away.
It was. I think it was a good block by Radarius Anderson on the corner against the cornerback. He kind of stalked him up, and Pringle was able to get around and punch it in. Those guys work good together. They do a great job at practice, doing the thing they should do to make it work as far as their stop blocking.
So it was 27-6, and the Jaguars came right back, Coach. 5:47 left. They had a couple of timeouts. They burned one on this drive. Skelton back in the game, complete to Hunter Register. We talked about him. 12 yards that made it 27-13, and that pretty much did it for the scoring. They tried the onside kick, and we just kind of milked the clock and ran out the clock, and we win 27-13. I kind of felt, Coach, that it was going to be a low-scoring game. I mean, Southern's been scoring a ton of points. So have we, but our defenses were playing well. Jaguars defense, they've been giving up a lot, but I thought it was going to be kind of that kind of game. I didn't think it would be a 49-48 or whatever it was with Prairie View. I thought it would be kind of a low-scoring game with the conditions, the wind, and it turned out to be that way.
And the biggest thing is, Charles, our defense, played a fairly good ball game compared to with the depth that we had to go into the ball game. These guys really sucked it up and played. I commend Coach Thornton and his staff on that.
And we appreciate it, and that's going to send us to a break. We'll take a time out here. We'll look at the individual numbers. We'll talk about the Steve Air to McNair celebration. We'll get to that, and we'll look ahead to the bye week, the SWAC report. So a lot to get to here at 40 minutes after 6 o'clock. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Radio show. Let's look at the numbers, Coach. Felix Harper, 19 of 26 for 277 and 2 touchdowns, sacked just one time. We were only able to rush for 100 yards, and we've talked about Nico Duffy, just 1 carry in the game. Talk a little bit about that, because you said he was a game-time decision. He came in the second half, just 1 carry.
Yeah, Charles. He came in and got 1 carry for us, and just getting back in the thick of things and making sure that he's okay. But I think that this next week off is really going to help us with him. So he's okay, and just make sure that he just get a touch and see how things go with him. So we're excited to see him coming back.
Waller, 81 yards. Harper, 10 yards. Pringle with 8 yards rushing. And you look at that, just 100 yards for the Braves running the football. Chris Blair, 108 yards. No touchdowns, but he was all over the place. Southern couldn't cover him. Waller, 4 for 17. Tim McNair Jr., 3 for 32. Juan Anthony, 3 for 30. And we were backed up, Coach. There was a play. We were backed up third at a 1-yard line, and Juan Anthony with a catch to get us out of the hole. I thought that was huge.
It's always huge to get out of that thing that Charles when you're backed up. So Philly just having to find him and get us out that thing, Charles. You just have to just do a better job of not getting in old situations, especially in the backup right there, Charles.
We talked about it. McCullough with a couple of field goals of 37 and 31 yards. Coach, with the defense, who stood out to you defensively on Saturday?
Well, if you look at it, Charles, and you talk about defense, those guys that really stepped up, and Quintario Cole and Webbs making plays, and Hobart, he stepped up. This is a kid that walked on and was a special team player for us for a while, Charles, and so have mine. He's working his way in and getting a lot of playing time, and everything. So I think that what Coach Hart is doing with him is a phenomenal job with that kid, and I'm having to play special team as well. So those guys really stepped up and played a little bit. Salah Muhammad had 8 tackles, just being the norm. But we always talk about the young men on that side of the ball, and we just got to continue to keep pressure on them and doing what they're supposed to do their job, and we'll be okay. That's just figured down to the whole team, Charles. And we talked about it in the meeting this morning. Just talked about the trust factor, being able to trust each other, trust the coaches and what we're calling, and things of that nature. And so it's big on that, and we had a good talk this morning, and getting these guys to understand that it works if you do it. So we're okay. I think these guys understand now where we at now in this part of the season. You can't make any mistakes. We got a real good Gremlin team we got to go down and play, so we just got to get prepared for them for the next few days.
Did we look like to you a team that was rested? Southern coming off a tough game against Prairie View, had to go to Dallas, a long trip there, and a tough game with Texas Southern while we were off. Do you think we looked like a team that had a bye week? I thought our motor was going pretty good the whole game.
It was, Charles. It was a lot of speed going there, Charles, and I think that it helps when you have those, especially this time of year when you're playing 2 teams like a Southern, and then you got one coming up in ground with those buys just right there where they need to be to kind of help you get healed up and rested up. So it always helps. Guys come back with a lot of energy and ready to play.
All right, so let's get to the Twitter feed here. The time is 46 minutes after. Alexis Smith, the goal line play, the fumble. Do we practice with the quarterback under center enough to call that play in the game? Also, does the flow of the game dictate and run / pass play calling?
And that's something we do pre-practice every day, is take snaps from the center up under center, Charles. So that didn't have any bearing on what caused that fumble. I think that we got to get better with the guys getting pushed and getting the ball in the end zone. And Philly just got to do a better job of holding the ball before he crossed the goal line.
DQ from the text line. Southern offense controlled the first half, keeping our offense off the field. Third quarter, we held them to 36 yards. What did Coach Thornton see in the second half and the adjustments that he made there? Well,
just putting the guys in a position to make plays is the biggest thing. That's what he always tries to do, is put those guys in that position to make plays. And they don't have to overthink what you're doing a lot of times. And if they do that, and when he put them in the right place, if they do that, I mean, that's the result that you get, when you do it. So you cut down on the yards that the opposition get, the passing yards, the rushing yards. So, just put them in the right place, and that's what they do during the course of this morning together. And it seemed like the ball was coming out in the process of him going back, but when he brought it back forward, I think the fingertips hit the ball and pushed it forward. But I think the ball was already loose prior to that. So that was one of the calls that they said it wasn't overturned. So we live with it and keep playing.
John from the text line, just want to commend the Braves on a great win. He almost got emotional watching you after the game and then showing the clips of your brother. Just don't lighten up. That's John just making that comment.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of tough there, Charles. Just looking back at all the replay and of his games and all that kind of stuff, it kind of touching there, Charles. So, yeah, I did get a little emotional, Charles. I must say that. And but it was an emotional time. We won a ball game, and that you look back and this is the game that he broke the record in and against Southern, and it was a phenomenal atmosphere, and people come out and see a lot of number 9 jerseys around and well represented. And I thought that what Dr. Nave and she stepped in and did for this family, my mom, Michelle, and everybody was very good. And well represented. I think that the ceremony was great. Didn't get a chance to see it, but I saw some clipping of it. But you know, it was a phenomenal day, phenomenal weekend. The gala on Thursday night was outstanding. They did a great job with that, being able to raise money for his endowment fund and everything, Charles. So I think that what they did this past weekend was an A-class job from his university standpoint. And I credit Dr. Nave and her staff for really stepping in and putting on a great event for this McNair family. Well represented throughout this whole university.
I know you had to get your team ready for this game, but for you personally, just Fred McNair, how tough was it to stay focused from Thursday with the gala all the way through? You know, when it was over with on Saturday, the video tribute after the game, the halftime stuff. You know, how tough was it for you to stay grounded knowing you had a big game?
You know, the biggest thing is, Charles, from Thursday to Saturday, you know, it was times that, you know, I had to think about it. And you know, God blessed me with a great coaching staff. You know, these guys I think they kind of knew the things that I'd probably be going through with this whole process of this event, Charles, and, you know, having moments at times. And you know, the biggest thing is these guys, this coaching staff kind of kept things together, Charles. And I trust these guys with this football team. You know, during my time away, you know, I trust these guys to go and make sure these guys doing the right thing. So, and credit to them. You know, they're loyal people, they're loyal coaches, and they're loyal individuals. They're great individual coaches, and doing the right thing for this university is an A-class job. Is a testament of the things that they do for this program, and I commend them for that. You know, I thank them all the time for the job that they're doing. They're great coaches, not only great coaches, but they're great individuals, great mentors to this football team. So, you know, they kind of kept it together, and, you know, and Thursday was great. Enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Eddie did a great job as a guest speaker. Until Saturday, Friday, you know, I kind of went to the hotel with the team in Natchez, and we sit there and we talked, and Coach Thornton and I think him and Coach Frederick, we sit down in the lobby for a long time and kind of enjoyed the moment. And up until Saturday, you know, man, it was very tough. You know, I never show my expression a lot of times, Charles, but just inside and after the game, I thank the team for the job they did coming out and playing. And I said I didn't want to put any added pressure on them, but I wanted to make sure that we won that ball game just for this university and for the family in this retirement day, the ceremony to kind of cap it all off.
I mean, the obvious question for me when I thought about it, if Steve were here, if Steve were on that field, on that podium, on that platform, what would he be thinking? What would he be saying? If he were here to I mean, we know he's here in spirit, but if he were here to enjoy that, what would he say?
You know, the biggest thing is, Charles, all the supporting cast that he's had over the course of his years throughout this university, throughout the state of Mississippi, back at home, and throughout the state of Tennessee, and the surrounding areas throughout the United States, Charles. I think that he would probably say he appreciates everybody for their support of giving him an opportunity to come back home and see his jersey being retired at this university. Probably the words come out of his mouth, and to thank everybody that who was in attendance today and wearing that number 9 jersey.
I mean, there's a lot of number 9 jerseys out there, and it was a great video tribute after the game. I mean, you know, you got the win, you took care of business, you got the Alcorn Ode, and then the video presentation. What was going through your mind there when you saw that?
You know, that was the emotional time there, Charles. You know, just to be able to see the things that he did while he was here at this university, and so many lives that he touched throughout his process here. You know, just looking back at it and seeing all those clippings and of him and the family and the things that he was able to accomplish throughout his college career and his NFL career, Charles, you know, was such a touching moment and very emotional, you know, and just being able to stand there and watch that video was a great moment for me. I know for the rest of the family as well. A very emotional moment, but you know, we always try to help each other out in time of need, and I think that's where we all step in and kind of embrace each other for the moment that we shared with him throughout his college career and his NFL career.
One thing we can say, the number 9 will never be worn by another football player here at Alcorn or the Tennessee Titans. We'll take a break here. We'll take a look at the SWAC report, and we'll look ahead to the bye week. The time is 54 minutes after the hour. Back after this timeout. Nailed a couple of field goals in the 27-13 win. He was 2 for 2 as he converted field goals of 37 and 31 yards, respectively. It also punted twice for a 41-yard average and 1 punt inside the 20-yard line. So Corey McCullough, Specialist of the Week and Co-Defensive Player of the Week. You talked about Malik Holbert, became the first Brave to wrap up 3 sacks in a single game, and he did that in the win. He also recorded 5 tackles and was part of a defense that limited the Jaguars to just 13 points. So congratulations to both of those young men. Of course, the games in the conference, Braves went over Southern 27-13. What about Mississippi Valley? They beat Texas Southern 35-14. A thriller in Birmingham in the Magic City in double overtime. Alabama A&M 43, Bama State 41, and Grambling 39, UAPB 33. Games in the conference. Southern, it's their homecoming this week. They host A&M. Valley hosting Bama State. Grambling hosting Texas Southern. It's Grambling's homecoming. And UAPB 2-2, Prairie View 2-3, Grambling 1-2, and Texas Southern 0-4. Coach, I've been telling folks the last 48 hours, hey, we've come a long way. We've got what we deserve, but there's still some work to do. And if you kind of rank the teams where they are right now, I mean, the Braves obviously number 1. You can kind of shuffle it around. But the next couple of games, we got 2 of the better teams in the conference. Of course, Grambling's gotten hot, and Alabama A&M kind of salvaged their season with the win in the Magic City. So we got some work to do.
Yeah, we still do, Charles, and that's the thing that at the beginning of the year we talked about, controlling ourselves and the things that we can control. And that's one thing that we can do is control how we play and the wins and losses. So I think the guys are up for the challenge to do all those things right, Charles, and we're in a position right now that we're where we want to be in control of our own destiny. And we just got to make sure that we're doing the right things. And like I said, we got to get back to the drawing board this week and work on some of the things that we need to get better at.
What are some of those things?
Just the basic stuff, Charles. Just a lot of fundamental stuff. Just for as our run blocking and our pass set and being able to get to the quarterback on the passing and the coverage. So those basic things that we need to do to be sharp for Grambling in 2 weeks. So we'll get back to it, get to the fundamental work, and get back to it as we speak tomorrow.
You talk about the health. We got some guys banged up, and it's all about time and getting those guys, little reps, but more rest, all of that. Just because this is a stretch run that begins with Grambling on the road, A&M at home, and Jackson State. Jackson State's still in the mix. A&M still in the mix. Grambling's still in the mix. Because Grambling does control their fate in the West. If they win out, they win the West. So these are, the top-tier teams in the conference coming up.
Oh, yeah, we got to play, Charles, and starting with Grambling. We got to make sure that we're doing everything that we have to do as coaches to get these guys prepared to play a real good Grambling football team. I think Coach Favre is doing a great job down there in Ruston to get those guys ready to play. So we got to make sure that we take care of ourselves first. We dot our I's and cross our T's first, and I think we'll be okay.
And, of course, Hickbotham probably will be the quarterback when we see them. Coach Favre was begging for one of his 3 quarterbacks to take the job, and I think Hickbotham did that against UAPB. Coach, we appreciate it. Congratulations. Enjoyed it, and we'll crank it up next week. A lot to talk about as we get ready for the Final 3.
All right. Thanks, Charles. Go Braves.